my video, just how I do my very basic makeup routine. I'm not a makeup artist. I learned everything I know from YouTube. So yeah. So I try to make it quick, but the first thing I do is moisturize. I start off with this is like Neutrogena Hydra Boost Gel Cream. I have my primer. This is the there are better primers than this, but it's just what I use for now. LA Girl Pro Prep. And basically what primer does is it closes your pores. So it kind of like closes your pores so that the makeup doesn't clog your pores when you put it on. So after I do that, I like to do my eyebrows. People do it in different orders, but I like to do my eyebrows. I use a pencil. This is the Goof Proof Brow Pencil by Benefit Cosmetics. Pretty much a pencil is a pencil is a pencil. I just like this one because of the way it's angled. So I don't know if you can really see, but it's kind of angled to the side, and it kind of is like it's a pencil, but it's like a crayon kind of consistency, and so it's really good for getting the kind of angle I want. Something somebody told me when I first started doing my makeup is that I would have to learn how to do my own eyebrows. Like I would have to go stop going to the shop, start figuring out how to do my own eyebrows, and I was like, what? But after I learned how to do my own eyebrows, this is not true for everybody. A lot of people still go get their eyebrows done, but for me, it was good because I learned. I took a little razor. I took this here, a spoolie, and I learned how to line them up and cut away the hairs I didn't need. Use my my little scissors. But I did my eyebrows the day before yesterday. I took away the excess hair, so there really isn't much to do right now. There really isn't much to do right now, so I won't really mess with them too much. But yeah. So anyway, with the pencil, I just kind of take it and I just line. I stay in line with my natural eyebrows. So my natural eyebrows are already pretty thick, so I try not to do too much. Just go lightly and kind of fill out the shape. The next thing that people do is line underneath their eyebrows. I don't do this all the time because I just stopped caring. But this is my concealer, LA Pro Girl Concealer in the shade Warm Honey. What I'm going to do is take it underneath my brows because it just kind of like cleans it up, makes it look really finished. This is a brand new one I haven't used yet. So this is a e.l.f. brush, $1, but it has a straight end. And it's good for me because it helps me like just kind of follow that line underneath my eyebrows. So I put a little bit on my brush, not too much. And I just lightly go under my brows. Now we're moving on to eyeshadow. Couple key things about eyeshadow. It's about trial and error. Sometimes stuff looks dumb before it looks right. And that's okay. Like sometimes it looks dumb, but when you finish and you add the eyeliner, lashes, and everything, it looks okay. So this is my LA Girl Pro Concealer again. And what you want to do is put concealer on your eyelids. You just want to dab some on there. Something I use is, this is called like priming your eyelids, because you want to put this on there to make the eyeshadow stick. They also have white eyeshadow bases, which are good depending on what kind of like color. If you try to put on really bright colors, putting on a white base is really good. So yeah, but right now we're gonna do neutral colors. So I put that on, as you can see, and what I'm gonna do is I'm using this Real Techniques crease prep brush. This is a good brush to have, mostly because of how it's not clean right now, but it's dense on the end and it's like angled, so it's perfect for like kind of patting this into my eyelid. And you want to go all the way up. A lot of times, like when I started makeup, I would just stick to like literally down here on my eyelid, but eyeshadow really should go all the way. I mean, it should go all the way up. Um, and you want to kind of pat this in. It doesn't have to be like completely perfect, but the point of this, like I said, is to make sure your eyeshadow can stick. And also, we have creases in our eyelid, and you want to pat it into the creases so that your eyeshadow does not start to crease as you are applying it. You can use your Real Technique sponge, which I like to use when they're wet. So I just keep a little spray bottle of water, spray it, and you can kind of, use this to blend it in too. All right, so we've prepped and primed our eyelids, and now it's time to apply eyeshadow. Eyeshadow is really like a trial and error sort of a thing. You can have good shadows, you can have bad shadows. Uh, they can be expensive, they can be cheap. But my favorite eyeshadow palettes are my Anastasia Beverly Hills palettes. These are pretty expensive, but what I like about them is that, or this one in particular, it's the Soft Glam palette, and it has like a lot of neutral colors. But this is a Morphe M518 brush. It doesn't really matter. You just want to get a brush that's similar to this, or something that's fluffy. So like an elf brush that's similar is this one. This is like a $1 elf brush. As you can see, they're both pretty dense, and can get the job done. Yeah, so what you want to do is pick a neutral color. So I'm going to start with burnt orange, which is right here. It's a little it's neutral enough, but you don't want anything too dark, too high up. So I'm just going to dab some of that on there, knock off the excess, and I'm going to just go in small circular kind of motions up here. Really go into this color Sienna right here. Now this one I'm using the same brush again. Some people would say use different brushes. This works for me, using a fluffy one. I'm gonna go in the middle of my eyelid. All right. What I'm gonna do now is put on something on my eyelid. So as you can see, there's a little something going on here, but nothing too serious. And I'm going to go back into my Soft Glam palette, and I'm going to put I like a little gold, so I'm gonna go ahead and pick one of these golds to put on my actual eyelid, using this flat brush where you can kind of really pack it on. I'm gonna probably use I'm gonna use bronze because I like a little shimmer. So when you're patting something onto your eyelid, you want to have a decent amount of product versus if you're like kind of fluffing it. That's the difference. So I have it now. I'm going to let me look at my mirror. Again, this definitely doesn't have to be perfect, because it's just going on the eyelid. Okay, now it's time for foundation. I like to do my eyeliner, my mascara, and all of that at the end. So I have my Maybelline Fit Me matte. I got matte because I have oily skin, and what matte will do is kind of keep everything dry versus like giving me more oil, because that's just not going to work throughout the day. So what I like to do is I like to pour some on the back of my hand. You don't need a whole lot. I'm actually running out. All right. Maybelline doesn't have a pump like some other foundations have a pump to get the product out, which is helpful, but it's all right. So let's take some out on my hand, and I use my foundation brush, which is this is a e.l.f. Ultimate Blending Brush. It's pretty dense, and so it'll be good for packing the foundation in. But I just like to dab a little bit on my brush. People do this different. I like to just kind of go on the main parts of my face and add product. What you want to do now is kind of swipe and blend the foundation into your skin. Did that. Now I want to go back to my concealer, LA Girl Pro Concealer, and I'm going to take this. And the point of concealer is to, so pretty much naturally light hits your face in certain places, right? So light naturally hits here, 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 here. But when you put on foundation, you kind of take out, like, it kind of like covers up where light would naturally hit, and you have to use concealer to put it back. Taking my concealer, squeeze a little bit out, and just gonna go under my eye. And people do this different ways. Some people do like just dot 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 dot. Some people do triangles. Some people do rounded circles. Me, I typically just do a rounded circle under my eye. And it's just like painting it onto your face. So I have that here. I'm gonna put some right in the center on my nose. I'm gonna do like a half moon on my forehead. This kind of depends on the size of your forehead, how high up you want to go, how wide you want to go, and it just varies. But I just like to do like a little moon on my forehead, on my chin, right under here. And again, this is just to put some color back into your face. And some people go right here. The other point of your concealer is so like under your eye, you'll start creasing. Like you naturally have creases under your eyes. You don't want your makeup to start breaking up in those places. And so concealer kind of helps settle in so it doesn't break up. This is my concealer brush. It's this kind of shape, kind of dense. And basically I just use this to pat because it's the perfect shape to get right under the eye. So it's pretty pronounced, but that's why we go back with our Real Technique sponge. Again, you want to wet it. It works better damp. It always works better damp. And just so you know, it starts out like that really bright orange color. You can always get it back that bright orange color. You just use antibacterial soap, water, squeeze it, wash it. It gets back bright orange. So I'm going to just use this and pat into my skin. So foundation is on. You can tell it's there, but it kind of can't, which is cool. My face still looks a little, you can tell there's something happening, but my face still looks a little incomplete because I don't have any eyeliner, mascara, anything else on. Okay, so next is powder. This is the Airspun translucent setting powder. Pretty much what setting powder does is it sets your foundation, or not your foundation, your concealer in place, so it doesn't. You don't want your concealer to move because again, it's there to help stop creasing. So this is just like an added measure to make sure your stuff doesn't crease. Take the same sponge, put it on there, and you want to press it in. I have here, the label is off of it now, but this is my NYX liquid liner. So comes like this, and what I just like to do, I hold my eyelid down and just go in a very straight line across my lash line. Try to get as close as possible. Okay, now I have my Wet n Wild eyeliner pencil. I'm gonna go on my lower waterline and just pull it down and just kind of take the pencil and color it in. Next is mascara. I don't really like to put mascara on my top lashes because I don't like getting it off. It's difficult. But for the sake of the video, open your eyes and just go from root to tip. So now I'm going to do my lower lashes. So that's that. And now it's time to apply our eyelashes. This is the Ardell Lash Grip Clear Brush On Eyelash Adhesive. Pretty much I like it because, for one, it dries clear. Secondly, it has this little thing, so it's easy to apply. And the trick to putting on lashes is, there are a few tricks, but first things first is you want to have your lash out of the packet. These are lashes I already used, so they're not brand new, but you can reuse lashes if you take care of them. But first things first, when you take lashes out of the packet, you want to cut them to meet your eye length. So this is the eyelash tweezers. So they're curved, as you can see. One of mine is broken, but they're curved, so you kind of can pick up the lash like this, okay, and place it on your eye. And you just want to place it there to see. It got stuck, but you just kind of want to place it there to see how long it is. Okay. So I have my lash here. I'm going to take my lash adhesive. You don't need a whole lot. I'm going to kind of do a line of adhesive across the band of the line of the lash. And that's why I think getting slightly more expensive lashes, even when you're learning, is kind of worth it, because it has a thicker band for you to kind of like put that adhesive on, if that makes sense. It makes it easier to work with. The other ones are kind of flimsy, and I don't know. Like, I learned, but I just realized it was easier once I got better lashes. Like, I'm like, oh, I should have been doing this. Okay, so I put that on the, as you can see, it's on across the band, and I'm going to let it dry down. The point in letting it dry is so it can get tacky. If it's too wet, it'll just move around, versus, like if you glue on something or anything. If you glue something to a piece of paper, if you don't let it dry down, it's not going to stay. I just get it like this. Like I said, it dries clear, so once you can kind of see once it starts getting a little clear, like this one is kind of starting to, you want to put it on. I like to use my curved tweezers to put it on, and I also like to look down into a mirror. And what I mean by that is, when you're putting on the lash, when you look down like this, it helps you put the lash on better. So it's dried down enough, I do believe. It's all about trial and error. I'm going to put it on. So I'm going to look down into my mirror and place it where my real lash starts. And you want to get as close to your lash line as possible. I always used to be afraid of getting it stuck, getting my glue stuck on my eyelash, but I'm not really worried about that anymore. Now you see it sticking up, and it's sticking up right here. It's not on my lash. I like to use my fingers. You can use tweezers too, but I used to stick it down, and then I use my lashes to my fingers to kind of hold the lashes together. Okay, so at this point, eyes are done. for the most part. Now I want to take this brush. It's just like a powder brush, a dense brush. And I'm going to use this to kind of dust off the excess powder from setting our concealer. So next is highlighter. And so I like to use this. It's the Wet n Wild illuminating palette. And it has like 4 different shades in here. You can use any of them. I just prefer to use this bronze one. So I go in here, put it on the side of my brush, and I go right here, and I just kind of swipe it in. I like to go over my eye over here, on my nose, my chin. And you can kind of see where it's hitting at. I also like to take, I'll take like another eyeshadow brush. That's my one I use. That's the one. I take another eyeshadow brush, another e.l.f. brush, and just go under my brow bone. So I dip into my bronzer one, and I just go underneath to add a little pop, a little shine. Last thing with the eyes is I like to do an inner corner highlight inspired by YouTuber, beauty influencer Jackie Aina. And basically I'm just going to take this very pointed brush and go into one of my sparkly colors. I'll probably go into Jackie Aina's palette actually and use this one here. And just go into the corner of my eye and add a little shine. Alright, so for my inner corner highlight, I actually like to use a more pointed brush. My little sister was using my brushes. That's why there's purple on here. But I'm just going to take it anyway, go back into there, and make it more pronounced how I like. So, now we need to do lips. You have to moisturize your lips. I just use a good old egg. People might use other things. I don't know. I use my egg. Make sure my lips are moisturized. And when you put on lip products, if you're putting on like a lipstick, you probably want to use like a lip liner. I don't really do that often. Put on a liner, but I'm just gonna take a gloss. This is a Victoria's Secret gloss, pure metal. It's called Lights. I haven't been able to find it since I bought it, so if you can find it, let me know. I'll buy it from you. So I'm just gonna make you put on regular gloss. That's pretty much it. The last thing I would do is put it on setting spray. This is by NYX matte finish. So this basically holds your makeup in place for a few hours. My eyelashes lifting. Hold on. But now I'm gonna spray my face. And that's pretty much it. All right, thanks guys.